This is Dara from Invictus, and this is Death from Below. I'm Dara from Invictus, and we are here with COSCRADH at the second Death from Below session in the Thomas House in Dublin. COSCRADH could best be described as a fairly violent, brutal black death metal band. They have members from Dublin, Mayo, Galway, and a new drummer all the way from Croatia. And the album is called Nahanagan Stadial, which is quite an unusual name. So Ciarán, can you please explain to people what both the band name and the album title mean?
COSCRADH means triumph in slaughter. It's an old Irish word from the Annals of Ulster. So it was found whenever there was a battle that ended in complete annihilation. So it's one very early word from our earliest language.
Yeah, local tribes did that quite a lot as well at the time. You annihilated your neighbour, your enemy, like you did not want them coming back.
A fitting name then for the style of music that you play.
Yeah.
And the album title?
Nahanagan Stadial is it's the Irish term for the younger Dryas. Each song on the album is an act of complete annihilation, whether it was a giant storm or a battle, but they're all points in our history that actually happened. But Nahanagan Stadial will be the earliest known disaster where it wiped out the early hunter-gatherers on the island.
Okay. It was like the return of the ice age. It's where the ice sheets retreated for about 1,000 years. Life came onto the island, and then the ice came back and sort of drove everything back into the sea.
And so the artwork on the album then, it was designed by a Serbian guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Chaos Dictator.
And it's certainly reminiscent of Bathory's Bloodfire Death.
Yeah.
But instead of the kind of, I suppose, nightscape for the Wild Hunt, there's a seascape, and I'm going to take it that the seascape is somewhat representative of the Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah, it's the Cliffs of Moher, and that's O'Brien's castle on the water there. It depicts the Ihan Aguiha Mora, which was a huge storm that hit the west coast.
Night of the Big Wind.
Night of the Big Wind, yeah. And yeah, it's definitely a nod to Bathory as well, with the gods in the sky.
It's a pretty cool and descriptive cover. And for the vinyl, instead of having a logo on it, we got the logo kind of transferred, like it's a heat transfer onto it, which is kind of subtly into the artwork, which doesn't take away from the artwork because it's transparent as well, which is a really nice touch. So you were saying that the songs all kind of represent some sort of annihilation.
Yeah.
The Nahanagan Stadial is obviously the main one, with the younger Dryas and the complete annihilation of the hunter-gatherer population.
Yeah.
So going back to your 7-inch Mesra Mecca, which means the heads of the slaughtered dead.
Heads of the men who have been slaughtered.
Heads of the men who have been slaughtered. So there's a pretty brutal concept overall in COSCRADH.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, like since just going by the name of the band, like every song and every subject we delve into has to be an act of annihilation or something along those lines. But we try and steep it in actual history as well, or actual mythology that could be true. So Plagues of Note, for example, is some of the researchers in Note
part of the Boyne Valley.
Part of the Boyne Valley. They believe that there could have been a plague at Note because it's the only monument that was left dormant for 2,000 years, whereas all the other sites still had activity there. So they believe there was a plague there, and through generations they stayed away from it for 2,000 years. That's what some researchers there believe. I was talking to one of them when I was actually there. So that's another one that's on the album too, and it's actually the early version of that track is on Mesra McKay as well.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do a little bit of band history then. So when did the band form? And you've been the central member of the band since the formation, so it's basically your project.
Yeah, we started in 2014. The first few tracks came out there, were being worked on there by myself and John, the former guitarist. Hick joined the year after when we played a gig with Goward, because we have a lot of noise elements in our music as well. And Hick.
And this little fella proves to be a kind of a popular part of the overall COSCRADH set, which you'll see later when we have some live footage.
We've settled with the current lineup with Jason, Hick, and Boban from Croatia. So Boban's he's writing the new stuff with us now at the moment. He's not on this album, but yeah,
he'll be on the next record.
He's a brutal drummer.
So that brings us to the next step then. So Nahanagan Stadial came out in 2022 along with the compilation of the demo and the Death and Delirium mini album from a few years back. So going forwards, you did a US tour last year with Ascended Dead, who were also on Invictus for their first album. That was pretty successful. You played all the up and down the West Coast.
West Coast, yeah.
From Arizona up to Vancouver, yeah.
And now you're focusing on writing all new material, which is what tonight is basically about. There's going to be a set of all new material, perhaps one or two older songs, as they play a festival in Belgium next weekend as well. So I guess it's kind of exactly what this whole thing is supposed to be about, live rehearsals. So do you want to talk about the new material? What are the influences, stylistically, where you're going, development-wise?
We don't really focus too much on massive influences. We kind of just develop our sound from the early days. Like, I think we still have elements from the demo on the Delirium as well. So it's kind of just a continuation of that. But I think it's more wild and it's more kind of there's very weird elements in the next one.
Yeah, there's plenty of different elements in this one as well. Like, so I think we're learning as we go on as well. Like, you know. So,
but to say it's getting wilder is quite a statement, considering how extreme and wild COSCRADH already is. You know, I mean, a lot of people might not be familiar with COSCRADH, but in terms of extremity, COSCRADH is up there with, you know, the likes of Revenge and very early Blasphemy, even early Carcass and stuff like that. So if it's not going to be refined, it's going to get more intense. I think that bodes pretty well, and
definitely, especially with the addition of the new drummer.
More sonic violence, as they say. And Hick, you also have a kind of noise project called Gourd on the side. Does that influence what you bring to COSCRADH when it comes to the noise stuff?
A little bit, yeah. Some of their more doomier sections now, and some of the new stuff will have different elements and noise and that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And in between songs, once we start song one, we don't stop.
Yeah.
We don't introduce ourselves, we don't talk, it's just start to
brutality.
Finish. Yeah. So in between songs, I will fill those gaps with
noise. Yeah. Well, it's not the type of music where you kind of have a conversation with the audience. No. And I think a lot of bands could do with understanding their style like that and not trying to have a conversation with the audience. It's better to go in.
Yeah. We play for
fists and boots and
40 minutes. It's non-stop. So you know.
Intense experience for 40 minutes. So when are you guys anticipating recording the next record?
Well, we're planning to go in for a pre-production in about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and then it should be a few months after that, hopefully. So
so we're looking at late 2024, early 2025.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So then we can look at a 2025 release for the next COSCRADH album, which will be coming up on Invictus. Lyrical influences for this one, considering you kind of have the whole Annihilation concept down. Where have you pulled ideas from for this one?
All of the lyrics have been kind of set in history and some sort of evidence, whether it was some kind of archaeological site. or something like that. We tried to tie it to mythology, but this one is going to be complete mythology, and it's going to be more fitting for the insane sound of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be looking towards the sky more maybe.
And all right, okay. And do you have a title, a working title or anything yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh, and artwork or anything like that? Nothing
Nothing
conceived of
yet.
in that regard? Okay. Well, I guess that pretty much sums up what COSCRADH is all about. New album coming hopefully in 2025 on Invictus. We will update you more, and this is the first interview from the Death from Below sessions with Ciarán and Hick from COSCRADH. This is something that we're planning on doing for all the Death from Below. We want to kind of expand the Invictus YouTube channel, get more interviews, more features on the label and the bands on the label. So I will finish off by asking the guys what are their current favourite artists in the scene overall at the minute. Ciarán?
I'd say Concrete Winds currently, and then just all of the old stuff, Blasphemy by Heart, Catharsis as well.
And Hick?
God, tough one, yeah. I listen to so much different stuff as well, like, but listening to a lot of Revenge now again recently, and Blasphemy. I was actually late enough getting to the Blasphemy stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Blasphemy was pretty obscure even back in the very early 90s. It wasn't easy to get. If you were able to get the record, that was lucky, but tape trading was the only other way. So yeah, I mean, landing into Blasphemy late is not a big deal. Okay, so we will sign off. Cheers from Invictus and COSCRADH. Till the next time. Sláinte.